start with a quick recap of what is the SLAP Coalition. You might have heard of it before, so we're just going to share a few of the things that we are about and a few of the things that we've done in the past. Oh, I can read it too, so.
How you guys doing this evening? Great. SLAP is School and Labor Against Privatization. And that's what we're about. If you understand like privatization that's going on in today's society, as far as with communities and with schools like that, and they're being taken over by like, let's say, charter schools. And then they're also trying to attack the ports now. They're taking over public lands and they're making them into these condos and all these other type of things, or charter schools, or things that are putting union workers out of work, basically. People that have are with an established system that's working, or they're trying to make a better system out of the union system in most cases. But and it's the Port of Oakland, and it's the Oakland Public Schools, and we're just coming together so that we are able to express and show that we are not just going to let them just take over lands that we pay for as taxpaying citizens in some of these areas. We're paying for our students to go to these schools. So how are you going to say the money can go here and not there? It's our choice as people that are working in these systems and people that are living in these communities to stand up and fight back.
So y'all might have first heard of SLAP in around the springtime of this year. The coalition formed out of a shared struggle at stopping the privatization of the port, as Janera was saying, and also stopping the ongoing school closures here in Oakland. We played a big supporting role in the April strike that was done in solidarity with the longshore workers, the teachers strike. And so our goal here tonight is for us to connect, for people who are new to the space to hear some work that's been going on over the summer, and for us to plan our next steps. How are we going to approach the school board race that's happening in Oakland? How are we going to approach our contract campaigns in our various unions? And how are we going to grow our base as an organization so that we can create a mass movement to keep public resources for public good? So thanks everybody for being here tonight. So on the agenda, our first item is going to be just some of those reports and updates on things that have happened over the summer. First up, we've got Nick and Dawn, who are going to talk to us about the school board race.
Come up here.
Come on.
Come on.
Take the floor, John.
So this is just a 2-minute report back. I guess what we can say is school board races are going for D2, 4, and 6. If y'all don't know, in District 2 you have Max Orozco running. You got Jennifer Bruhard, and you also have David Kakashila, who is the most pro-privatization candidate. You know about him. He was on the board for a while and voted for closures and charters many times before. You want to explain D4 a little bit?
No.
D4 is a messy situation. You got Mike Hutchinson, you got Picola Manigo. Am I saying your name right? Danigo. And then also Nick Resnick. And Nick Resnick is definitely the biggest pro-privatization.
He's David's friend.
He's bad news.
Resnick is 2 thumbs down.
Yeah. And and then District 6 has, let's see, you got Joel Velasquez, you got Valerie Batchelor, and Kyra Munguia. I'm saying her name right too. And Kyra is also the privatization candidate.
Yeah, she's the friend of the other show.
Yeah. So that's what's happening. Folks are putting their stuff out.
Look on your tables, these are laying around. The QR codes take you to a discussion we had with candidates, and Mike was apart because he didn't attend the first one, so we had to make up for Mike. And then there's also a document on criteria for candidates that our committee worked on, and it is worth reading.
Yeah. And
Follow the code.
yeah, later on in this meeting, we will have a discussion about endorsements, potential endorsements, which we do, and there might be some controversy. There is some controversy around D4 at least, but definitely be ready for that conversation.
Bring that controversy to our breakout meetings.
Yeah, polling up for, acceptance, rejection, amendments, whatever.
Next up, I guess, is me. So I'm from the Labor Subcommittee and the Outreach Subcommittee. It's a short report back. Outreach did not do much meeting over the summer. SLAP had a barbecue, and so temporarily the Outreach Committee became the Barbecue Committee. We had a beautiful barbecue that happened in the month of June. It was at the Parker Liberation School there on the Blacktop. We had a lovely turnout. There were many community artists, people who did poetry, people who did music. There were games for children, and so it was a beautiful barbecue. I'm sorry if you weren't there. Thankfully, we will have more barbecues. And as far as the Labor Subcommittee goes, this is going to be a new subcommittee of the SLAP Coalition. It's one where those in attendance are interested in bringing this anti-privatization work to our union spaces or to our other workplace spaces. We want to use our unions and organized labor as a vehicle to stop privatization and link the struggles between unions. So that's all for the Labor Subcommittee report. Next is a report back on the Howard Terminal given by Million Cheryl. Would you like to come back? Gentlemen.
Okay, we have a short report too. As you know, we've been fighting against the stadium being placed at Jack London. Initially, our first fight was with BCDC, which is the governmental body that would have to approve changing the land use down at the port because it's only supposed to be used for maritime purposes, and clearly a baseball stadium is not a maritime purpose. So we lost that fight. And then we moved on to where we tried to get the council to put on the ballot the right for Oakland taxpayers to vote on whether public money should be used for, except Gallo and Fife. So we lost that fight. Right now, I think our focus is back on the council. I sent to the SLAP Google group, there's a resolution that the council passed early on that basically lays out the standards that would have to be met for them to have an agreement with the A's. And they claim that they would not support any kind of agreement unless those standards were met. We'll see. And also there is a financial audit that was approved by the council to be completed before they vote on anything. And that hasn't occurred. They haven't even hired somebody to do the financial audit. So that's sort of where we are right now, which means that the focus is going to have to be on the council and keeping them from voting before any kind of financial audit is produced, or voting even after the financial audit is produced, if ever, to have an agreement with the stadium. So the only two council people I know that are clearly opposed to the stadium are Gallo and Fife. So we have our work to do, and Cheryl's going to lay out some stuff that's being organized by the East Oakland Stadium Alliance. But you have a question?
Well, I was going to say, besides pushing Gallo, you also had Timothy Reed who's running for mayor and Rebecca Kaplan who's running for supervisor. They both sit on the commission, the Alameda Coliseum Commission. Anyone that sits on the commission should have access to that data. I think you guys should push pressure on them as well.
That's a good idea.
So what she was talking about is an independent financial analysis that Gallo had passed through the Rules Committee but it cannot, it was scheduled for this independent analysis for September 20th. But however, it's been postponed because the term sheet, they haven't gotten it from the aides yet. And so Millie is right. We, the city, and city legislators cannot do anything without a term sheet. How can you make a decision about money that you don't even know where it's going? Okay, so that's what she was saying. The other thing I'd like to say is the $855 million of public funding that's supposed to be put out for, that we couldn't vote on, those of us who are voters in Oakland. One of the strategies that we're saying or really pushing is that we got closed schools, we have mental health issues, we have homelessness, we have housing issues, we have rents are sky high, we got filthy streets, we got illegal dumping, we have many things in order to put that money towards, and it's our public funding, no matter how you look at it. So they didn't want that vote to happen, and it didn't happen. So lastly, the EOSA, East Oakland Stadium Alliance, is really looking for our Education Association, our SEIU, you guys to come forth and participate in some of these efforts that we're trying to do. And we're wondering what ways can we get you motivated around this project so that we can hear from you when we need to make these calls into city council. Because when that meeting does happen at the city council, we're going to need to all be organized and call in. We have talking points, so you don't have to worry. All you have to do is just set aside the call. Lastly, I just got an email, a text, that Buttigieg, who is our secretary, right? Pete Buttigieg, secretary, of Treasury, will join Congresswoman Barbara Lee tomorrow and Mayor Libby Sheff for a bus tour of the Howard Terminal and lobby for more federal funds for Howard Terminal. So this is not for Howard Terminal, this is for John Fisher, right? So what we are planning, they want to raise $14.5 million. Okay, playing the game. So tomorrow morning, please write this down, I don't have it but on a text. Tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m., there will be signs made up, they're making them up now, that we're not to use public funds for billionaire John Fisher's luxury development, say no to mega funds for John Fisher, where it's going to be, if they moved it, it was going to be on the steps of City Hall, 8:30 in the morning. But now, I understand, but I just have to, we're putting it out here. And now it's at Broadway and 3rd Street at 126 Broadway for those of us who are retired or don't have to be in school tomorrow. Okay.
What I would suggest, if you can't do 8:30 in the morning, because I know you guys are working, is we should probably call Barbara Lee's office. Okay, it's Barbara Lee that we need to put pressure on. Call her office and say we do not appreciate her going around trying to privatize our land. Okay, and as a more progressive element, she needs to hear from us.
So when is the next city council meeting, so we can all be on there? And then, can you give us the votes? Well, was there no or yes? Do you know the numbers? How many yes to what? To the Howard Terminal. For the
They haven't voted on anything for Howard Terminal.
So this has just been discussions and stuff.
But there is a resolution that they passed that claimed that laid out the terms that would have to be met to have an agreement with the A's, which I emailed to the SLAP group, so you should have it.
I'm so sorry, comrades. For now, I think we're just gonna try to move through the report backs. We are gonna break into the subcommittees, so there can be more discussion and more Q&A in that space. We wanna make sure.
Everybody should be clear on is this whole fraud of unit benefits.
Yeah.
We know about that.
Yeah, we know about it.
We know it's.
You gotta have
So, for the no school closures, We still have 6 schools on the local school closure list still coming up this year. We're still working to keep all of those schools off. The object of it is to try to flip the board. And so we're pushing in a way of trying to whom we have that are running. That's in 2, 4, and 6, and we got 2 in each because we're using this strategy as a way to fight against the privatizers, and that way we'll have 2, and we're suggesting, even though if they don't get along and they bump heads, that we vote for them as first and second choice. That's the only way we'll win this election. There is no other way. There's no middle line. We have to do it this way, even if we don't agree. But that's the way that we're looking at it. There is an outreach group that came out of Parker that has been working on trying to support the other schools that are going to be affected in this year's closures. And there's a link for that. There's some flyers that we have, but I'll have to share it out with you. I'm going to read off the flyer off my phone. I left them. But we have a QR code, and there's a link tree attachment on there so folks can scan that QR code, get included in the emails and the updates on what's going on with the no school closures, get involved. We're still trying to help these schools organize. The only step that we've done so far is get parents on board. I believe we have parents from each site except for Hillcrest. I think Hillcrest is the only school that we don't have any representation from. We got some? Okay, so we're all full now. So we have representation from each school site, getting these parents organized on getting ready to have their own community ground rules, having more than 2 people in running things. As far as when they have meetings, if someone's not available, then we'll always have someone there to be able to support them, as well as us supporting them with logistics as far as if they need things printed out, if they need QR codes. Katia and the rest of us, it's me, Katia, Jill, Holly, and Ebony, and we're part of the outreach thing. And like I said, everybody's invited to be a part of that. And we're trying to come up with a survey that's not so open to where they have to write so much, but a survey created for each site, each school site, so that they can start creating a way to build some actions out of how they want to move forward with supporting their school.
Education conference, we're gonna have Steve speak. Come on down.
Thanks, brothers and sisters. So we had this educational conference at Islandview Local 6, and it was the first time we could get people together, not just from Oakland, but different districts in California, talking about what the attack on teachers, community college, adult education, ESL that's going on. So that was important, and we videotaped that. So we're going to follow that up. There's going to be the FICMAT, that organization which sent the letter saying that they should have budget cuts in Oakland, which actually the board rejected, appealed, and it was rejected by FICMAT, and Tony Thurman rejected the appeal. They're going to be having a meeting, a statewide meeting. They don't have that many, but they're going to be having one on September the 21st at the Los Angeles Board of Education, County Board of Education. So we're going to be going down there, and there are people in LA, unions, UTLA, who are going to be going there to protest and demand that that be abolished, that FICMAT, to try to get a statewide campaign going about that organization. It's a nonprofit funded by the state, run by retired superintendents from rural districts, right-wing superintendents. So it's basically carrying out austerity. So, and the City College Heat has also called for its abolishment. So the other thing is, there's another thing that's going on, and the state is supposed to put, and districts are supposed to put information out on websites about charters. How many charters there are, where they are. They're refusing to do it. I guess they don't want people to know. They don't think it's important. So,
Our district?
yeah, I don't know about your district, statewide.
Oh,
So Jeff Pott, who's a retired teacher of UTLA, has drafted a letter, which we're getting signatures for, to Tony Thurmond, calling on him to put all the information about all the charters in California on the website, which they should be doing. And they haven't done it, and the reason they don't want people to know how many charters there are, and where they are, and who's running them. So if we don't get a response, we're talking about having a press conference at Tony Thurmond's home in Richmond.
Yeah.
And letting people know that they should put this on the website where the charters are and who they are, which is very important for education. Okay, the other thing is we're planning to have a statewide conference on charters and privatization on October the 23rd on vouchers and charters. And also, we're talking about a meeting of community colleges who are facing possible strike action and negotiations, Peralta and City College. And also there's a struggle in San Francisco against the closure of Laguna Honda Hospital. It's a public hospital which they want to privatize, turn over to developers. And SEIU, we're working with SEIU 1021 to have a community meeting, community labor meeting about the protection of that hospital. So that's it. Thank you.
We have finance and membership, and that will be Trent.
How's everybody doing? My name is Trent Willis. For those who don't know me, I'm a member of the ILWU, International Longshore Warehouse Union Local 10, and greetings from the Longshore Union. I'm here with my brother Yanero, and I'm going to try to make this real short tonight because I usually do a lot of talking. But I was supposed to have my sister here with me, who is an expert in the area of creating nonprofits. She's an accountant and also a real estate broker and all of that good stuff. She was going to explain to us the difference between some of the 501c status and where she thinks we should apply for our nonprofit status. Okay, so if it's okay, I'll just read you what she texted me because she couldn't be here. Okay, we discussed this during the steering committee meeting and decided to bring this to you tonight because some of us think that we need to file a nonprofit status so that we're able to generate funds and be much more effective on what we're trying to do moving forward. There's no organization on earth that's going to operate without having the funds and resources available to move forward and to push its agenda. Okay, so that's what this is about. And she texted me a key difference between 501c3 and 501c6 is lobbying. Okay, a 501c6 can lobby for legislation supporting its mission and directly oppose or support political candidates. However, the organization must limit its political activities to no more than 49% of its resources to maintain compliance. Okay, the Internal Revenue Service, IRS, states that both 501c3 and 501c6 organizations do not have to pay federal income taxes, but after that, the differences between the two organization types are vast. The primary difference between the two has to do with organization's purpose. 501c3 organizations must serve the public. Okay, 501c6 organizations are formed to serve their members. Okay, so basically we have to decide whether we're going to be a membership-based organization or a public-based organization. But I think one thing that we've already decided is that we're going to be an organization that organizes around supporting candidates that support our agenda, pretty much. And everything surrounded around stopping privatization and the attack on public resources from billionaires and corporations. Okay, so in order to be an effective organization in doing that, we have to be able to support candidates that will go into public office and basically do what we're asking them to do, which is what they're supposed to do anyway. However, you know, in the capitalist system that we live under, it takes money to make people do things. Okay, and that's what lobbying is for. That's why corporations and big businesses are always beating us out, because they have the billions and billions of dollars that they're making off of our backs, and then they turn around and use it against us when it comes to resources. Okay, so I like to speak in simple terms, you know, because when you get too technical, you lose people. Okay, so the base fight on the planet Earth is over resources and control over those resources. Okay, so the more powerful someone is, or some people are, the more chance they have to control those resources. The problem with hogging up resources is that you create a very rich hierarchy over here, and then you have all of the poor people over here that don't have access to these resources. So that's the fight, is to not control the resources, but make it in a way where the resources are shared amongst the people of the planet, right? So we have the capitalist system that we have to operate within to make that happen, okay? The capitalist system is a horrible fucking system. I'm just gonna be real, okay? It's a system that allows poor people to be taken advantage of and people to be oppressed. It's a system that allows, say for example, racism to be used in a way where you're devaluing workers. Okay, it's all about devaluing workers and getting labor as cheap as possible or for free. Okay, if you look back in history, you'll see that even the struggle of black people in this country started from the aggressive want to have their labor for free, which first they had to be devalued as a people. We're still struggling with that right now, with trying to, that's what Black Lives Matter means, okay? So in order for us, and I know I'm going on and on, but in order for us to effectively get our message out, to start our podcast, if you know, we talked about that, to start our publication, to spread our message, hopefully all across the country and the world, we have to have money. We have to be organized in a financial way to get that done. We have to be able to take in donations or membership fees. Okay, we have to be able to organize events. Okay, we have to have a financial backing so that we are recognized as a powerhouse, as SLAP. People will listen to us. So that's what my report is about. I hope that we can either do one of the two. My suggestion would be I wish my sister was here because I don't, yeah, the 501c6 seems like the best one to go. It takes, before I get to you, it takes roughly 14 days to get this done. After applying for it, it takes 14 days to get done. It costs around $1,000 to do it all. Okay. She also suggested that we apply for to become status of a PAC, also to support political candidates and to have candidate forums and that kind of thing. So it's two different things that we want to look to do here. Okay. All right, so that's it for me, unless somebody has a question.
Oh, no, I was going to agree with you, and I was going to say the fact that they probably put me separate.
Right. All right, thank you. Thank you,
Comrade Trent, for your grounding words. Our mission is what we're here for. And so, you know, we heard many different report backs. We heard a report back from the school board, from the labor subcommittee, from the Howard Terminal Committee, the media committee, the school closures committee, the education conference committee. and the Finances and Membership Committee. And so many different parts of an organization that we're trying to coordinate, to work together to build a mass force to defeat the ultimate evil, as Brother Trent was saying, the capitalist class. And so we are now going to break into those subcommittees for about 15 to 20 minutes. I'm going to say the name of the committee again. And so, whatever stood out to you, whatever sounded the most interesting, please meet the subcommittee leads there to touch base and see how the work can continue. We've got the school board committee, maybe committee leads, you can raise your hands. We've got school board committee with Nick and Don. Y'all should come together. So committee, if you hear the committee, see the people you're gonna talk to and then just walk up to them as soon as we break out. So again, school board, Nick and Don, raise your hands, thank you. Labor subcommittee, that's gonna be with myself and Gennaro. Howard Terminal with Millie and Cheryl. Raise your hands, camaradas, por favor. Thank you. Okay, media committee, if you love to be on the media, if you love to make media. School closures, Tim and Misty. Okay, education conference, if you're interested in educating the people, with those two gentlemen back there. Finances, if that does not put you to sleep, but in fact wakes you up, we'll see, Brother Trent. It's all in the delivery. So